afternoon, everyone, and welcome back to the Adobe XD Daily Creative Challenge. I'm your host, Andrea Eppy. So welcome everyone in the chat. Hope you guys are having a great Monday and that you had an awesome weekend and you're feeling refreshed and ready to go. So welcome everyone. It's day 5 of our 2-week challenge. So I have another whole week of very fun challenges for you guys. So I'm glad you're all here. So welcome. We've got Laura in the chat. We've got Golden Rose, Rosie, Natwar, Picten. Welcome everyone. So and there's Henry, just saw you there. So as always, if you guys have any questions about anything I'm doing, just let me know in that chat. So let's hop on over to Behance and we can go ahead and get started and see what today's challenge is. So as always, if you want to follow along with me, I'm on behance.net/challenge/XD. So of course, if you're new, go ahead and sign up with this big blue button right there. That way each day at 8 a.m. you'll get notified in your Creative Cloud app that there is a new challenge and that you should hop on back here and see what it is. So of course, the Daily Creative Challenge is every day I give you a new prompt and it will be unlocked down here. And then of course, I'm live at 2 p.m. Pacific, so you can just watch me complete the challenge. So last week, these were all the ones we did last week. We did a hairstyle generator. That was very fun. The DIY browsing experience, a hobby randomizer. On Friday, we did that exercise scoreboard. So thank you everyone who shared your work. And today we're working on a plant planner. So maybe, it's the beginning of the year. You kind of want to plan your plants, plan when you're going to plant your plants throughout the year. So I want you guys to design and prototype an experience for planning which plants to plant during different seasons. Sorry, that was a mouthful. And we're gonna add some drop-down menus to select which month and plant type. So as always, you can grab the starter file, and we did fix that. So if you just hit get started, it will download correctly now. And of course, if you ever want to go back and rewatch any of these videos, just hit watch video. What else? So if you want to get feedback on your work, you can hop on here to Discord. So this is where you can post your work for feedback. You can post it in this current challenge channel over here. This is the Adobe XD Discord server, if I didn't mention that. But also just, check out what everyone else is doing and get some inspiration if you want to see daily what all of your fellow designers are doing. There's lots of good stuff in here, so check it out, chat with each other, and let's get started. So let's hop into XD, and as always, I give you guys, the actual end result of what we're going to be creating at the very beginning. So this is a little preview. Get this out of the way so we can see. Okay, so we're focusing on drop downs here. So we're going to do this version and this version that kind of doesn't have the background button there. So your plant planner, maybe this is the home page. We've got a list of different plants to kind of search through. And then we do that drop down, open it up, and we can choose, maybe you want herbs, fruit, roses, whatever different kind you want. So let's pick herbs, and then we close that up, and then you see the result of all of those, and maybe you check the time period as well. So maybe like March through April or something, close that up again, and there you have it. So we're gonna focus on those two. It's super easy, and you don't have to do a ton of different artboards. I'm only gonna do 2, which is really awesome. So I'll show you how to do all that today. And of course, we're focusing on some area within XD, and today it's right here. So as with some of the other previous challenges, is my sound on? I feel like, okay, it was just very quiet. I couldn't hear it in the background. Anyway, as with a lot of the other challenges, some of the like areas over here, you have to actually be selecting something that's grouped. Otherwise you will not see it. So for instance, this text, you see something for this, you'll see layout, this is grouped, and same thing with components. It might be grayed out here if you don't have like a group of things selected. So some inspiration down here. I loved this watering schedule. If you want to add something like that, that's kind of cool. This one by Anton. It's actually kind of similar for like what we're going for today. You can show like a whole map or month view and select like specific days if you want to do it that way. This one's very green. And yeah, resource booklet. Of course, you can always hop through some of these tabs over here in our components panel. That's how I made that, with a component. So you can make your own resource booklet after today, learning what we're doing. Okay, so today's tips. So the reason I want to do drop downs, and the reason we do a lot of drop downs in mobile apps, is because we have a small amount of space, obviously. So when you have a lot of data in a small amount of space, it helps to hide some of that information if it's not the most important thing on the screen. So making it accessible in up-down arrows and drop-down menus saves a lot of space. So generally things like, let me show you. So this drop-down with the month view, let me open it up here. Maybe that on desktop, if you're doing desktop or tablet, you have a little bit more space to be able to see that, so you don't necessarily need to hide it in a drop-down. But since I'm doing mobile, that is how I'm gonna hide things and make more space today. So yes, Dijon said, as a plant person, I'm excited for this one. Awesome. Yeah, I just got into actually growing a garden like last summer, and I hadn't really done that ever before. It seems very simple, but it's hard to keep plants alive sometimes, I find. But yeah, if you go on my Twitter, I posted a lot like last summer about my gardening adventures. I was growing like watermelon and everything. Very fun. Anyway, so up here I'm just starting with our header or the name of the app in the top left, and then in the top right we always add a drop down menu or the hamburger menu to access the rest of the screens, somewhere at the top usually. And then I'm gonna drag in this search bar and just center that right there. And just for the sake of time, I already have some of these things already completed. And you won't see all of these in your starter file because I encourage you guys to come up with your own components, especially today since that's what we're learning. But you will have the resource booklet. So let's add a little description just in the center right here. Center align this, center it, and we'll just tell the user, kind of give them a description of what this app is about. So we'll just say like filter to see what time of year is best for your plants, or is best to plant your plants. I'm trying to avoid saying plant your plants too much because I have a lot of P's in there. Okay, so right below that, here we can start adding those drop downs. So let's add the one on the left first. So that was plant type. So browsing by the plant type. Let's just put that like right over here. And then I'm gonna actually put this in a little sort of button, drop down button. So users know, hey, this is clickable. It's very like draws your attention and everything. And the text I need to change to white. And this text that I'm using today is Tondo. I don't use this one a lot actually, but I was using Poppins a lot, so I was like, I need to mix it up a little. Okay, so then we got a little drop down arrow, of course. And let's go ahead and just group all of those. So then we can make something a component. Okay, so before I go in and like add all of the different states for that component, I'm gonna just go ahead and fill out kind of the rest of this home page so we have some idea of what it'll look like all together. And then on the right here, maybe we want to be able to filter it through month or whatever time period you want. So like January, I actually have no idea what kind of plants can be planted this time of year. If anyone knows, especially in Missouri, like everything is pretty much dead right now. But I would love to plant something right now. Let's make this a little smaller. see. That's better. Okay. Just making sure the thickness of this drop down text is going to be kind of the same thickness as this icon right there. So let's group those two together. And just for some contrast, I'm just keeping the plant type drop down. I'm giving that the black background, and the time period I am not. Because if we had two black huge CTA buttons, it's a little bit much and it kind of divides the space too much. Yeah. So below that, let's go ahead and add, I actually went ahead and did these ahead of time. So these are just some examples that users could kind of scroll through. So herbs, roses, let's add another one. Copy this, maybe blue, right there. Okay, cool. Okay, so you guys are giving me some examples. So Rosie said snake plant. Oh yeah, I think those survive pretty well in the winter. Potatoes. Potatoes. I didn't know those were winter plants. Reverb mic. I plant tomatoes. Nice. The agapanthus. I have never heard of that plant, but I'll have to look that up after this. Okay. Next, actually just for the sake of time, I'm going to add this component I already created for the bottom menu. Let's make sure this is on the very bottom. Okay, and then with a few of these, we could just make this scrollable. So let's move this up a little bit so users know that, hey, there's something below the fold. So usually, I always try to add just a little bit of something peeking through. Otherwise, if you would have this like right here, and this is like moved down a little bit, you wouldn't necessarily know that this is scrollable. You would just think, oh, those are static, whatever. There's nothing else on this page. So always let the bottom kind of your page, let it peek out a little bit so users can see. So this, if we wanted to, we could make a vertical scroll group. And, you know, if we wanted to, we could preview this. I don't have anything here. I only got so many photos for today, but okay. So now, yeah, let's do this one first before moving on to the next page. All right, so components can be a little tricky, but I'm going to try to make this as simple as possible. So you've got a group of items right here, and we've got the components tab over here. So all we want to do is just press the plus icon, and that will make it a component. So you'll see, I don't know if you noticed, but over here, this popped up. So this is new within all of our document assets. So we've got our colors up here, of course. We've got all of our character styles with all of our fonts and everything. And then our components are down here. You can see all my icons and stuff. But we only have one state. So that really doesn't do too much for us. If we click on it, nothing's going to happen yet. So this is the default state. And I might have already mentioned this before, but we have main components, and then we have instances. Let me copy and paste this. So you'll see up here it says instance when we click on this second one that I copied and pasted. And this one is still the main component. So the main component will always have this little green diamond filled in. Instances will not be filled in. So right here, it's a little hard to see. But that just means that anytime that you will update the main component, so let's say let's change this to red or whatever, it will change the rest of our instances. So if I change this one though, let me double click in there, and I change this to blue or whatever, it will only change that instance. So just something to keep in mind. If you have like, 50 different elements across a ton of different artboards, make sure if you want to edit all of them, you have to go back and edit the main one. And if you're ever like, where is my main component? You can always just come over here to your components or right click and then do reveal components in assets. All right, so let's go ahead and make another state. So we'll just click that plus icon again. We'll say new state. And this one, I usually like to, even though this is the default state, I usually like to just name another one of whatever that default state, but get to name it, just so I have that listed out. So let's just say closed, it's the closed state and nothing selected. Okay, so same thing here. Let's create a new state. So this one can be opened, and this will say nothing selected. So now we want to do, make sure you have whatever your second one is that you want opened. So open, nothing selected, make sure you have that selected, and then you have to double click in, and we can pull this down, and let's actually right click and bring this to the front so it's not behind while we're editing. And make sure you just double click in, drag that down, and now we can add whatever else we want to this. So let's just list out a bunch of different plant types. So I'll drag this over a little bit bigger, and I'll just say herbs, roses, fruit, what else? Annuals, perennials, shrubs, and that's all I can think of right now. So that's what we're gonna go with. Okay, and let's make this could be a little bit longer. And you could make this scrollable if you want to. I usually recommend for drop downs not making it scrollable if you can help it, just because it's a lot for just a drop down, which is like such a small amount of space. So if you do have a lot, I recommend maybe that could be its own page or something, or like a whole overlay with the black sort of intermediate layer with a little bit of opacity. Okay, so we've got our opened state, nothing selected. Now let's do opened state with herb selected. Okay, so here I want to just add sort of this little white button background to make sure it looks like it's selected. And then I'll add some more herb text. I hope I'm saying that right. That's how I've like always said it my whole life. I don't think it's herbs, I think it's herbs. And okay, so now this looks selected. Just leave that like that. Maybe I'll make this regular instead of light. Okay, so let's review the different states we have so far. We've got closed with nothing selected. We've got opened with nothing selected. We've got opened with herb selected. And then let's add closed with herb selected. Or just herb, yeah, herb selected. So for that, we can just delete all of this, and we can make this small again. And maybe this will say plant. Oops, let's left align that. Just make sure it doesn't move. And then this will say plant herb. So we know, hey, that's the one that we selected. Okay. Okay, so now since this is a component, anytime if you want to copy and paste this anywhere, you will still have all of these different states. So again, if you update this one, since this is the main one, anything will be updated elsewhere with all of those states as well. So very handy. Okay, let's hop into the prototype tab so we can kind of make this clickable and add some interactions. So we wanted to start on, when we first get to this page, leave it on closed with nothing selected. And then for the interaction, we can add a tap trigger right there. And down here, yeah, we can do auto animate, that's fine. And then for the destination, so instead of choosing a different artboard, so the artboards are down here. It's a little hard to tell which is artboards or states, but these are the artboards. And we just want this to go to a different state. So we want this to go to opened with nothing selected. And you can change the duration or whatever if you want. I'll just leave it as is. All right, so we'll need to do the same sort of thing for the rest of these states so we can be able to click through it. So now we're on opened. So just from that, same thing up here, all the same interactions, but we want this to go to the next state, which is herb selected. And then if we scroll on down here, for this, when we close this, we actually want it to go to our next artboard, which is the filter artboard. Let me make sure this is filter 2. Okay, so now we have opened herb selected. And so same thing, tap, trigger, auto animate, but for the destination, instead of doing one of these states, we'll come down here and we'll choose filter 2. So now that'll open up to that next page. And then, yeah, I think we're good. Okay, so then when you're going to preview this, you always want to make sure you have to put this back on whatever your default state or your first state was. So bring it back to closed nothing, and then we can just preview it as we have it so far. So we click our little drop down, we look through them, we're like, oh, okay, I want to see filtered by herbs. And then if we close that, it should take us to filter 2, which is blank right now because we haven't done it yet. But yes. Okay, so let's see how quickly we can do this page. So plant planner, maybe I'll make this a little bit smaller just so I can have like a huge list of all of my herbs or whatever down here. And always keep your menu wherever it was on the last page. So users aren't like, whoa, how do I get around? How do I navigate? Search we can move up just a little bit just to save some space. And this we don't really need anymore because it was kind of like the intro description on the first page. And then these drop downs we still do need, so let's just bring them on up. And since we already selected herbs from this one, now we can move this to closed. So now it says plant herb. And then below this, again, we can just copy that menu down there. And this is where you can add your whole list of all of your items, all of your plants, whatever you want. And maybe I'll make this just a light gray sort of in the background. That's like super light. Yeah, that's fine. Let's do a repeat grid on this. So we can add a whole list. I'll need to send this to the back. And then I just got this from Adobe stock. This is just a bunch of random herbs. And I'll put that in a mask. And then my trick is, so I don't have to bring this in Photoshop and, mask out the background, I just come over here to the blending modes and move this to darken. And then I can just kind of move that mask around for each of these. Oops, copy and paste. Oh, I copied that twice. Move this around. There we go. Just so we have a few different options here. And this will be a test of if I know what all of these are, because I'm not that good at like spices and stuff, just by visuals. And this needs to get sent back too. Okay. So let's add the text. So let's see, let's left align this. And this could be quite a lot smaller. Let's make this 14. That's probably good. Okay, so this I think is parsley. I'm pretty sure. If it's not, then I don't know what it is. Oops. Oh shoot. I opened Illustrator. Force quit. Okay, so the next one I'm pretty sure is basil, and then this one is rosemary, I'm pretty sure. I think that one's mint. Oh. Mint. And then that one I believe is dill. But if there's any, connoisseurs of spices and stuff that knows otherwise, let me know in the chat. All right, let's space this out a bit. And what else? Maybe the ability to favorite or heart one of these. And then maybe also, let's copy and paste this. Don't have a ton of time left. I can just say March through May. Okay. And let's again make that a lot smaller as well. Left align it, and we'll bring down that opacity. Okay, and we can just do a repeat grid on both of those. Just make it super easy. Boom. And there we go. Okay, so let's go ahead and preview this. Everything we got so far. So we've got our drop down. We see all of the different options. We choose herbs. We close it up. And since we did auto animate, it had that nice little cute kind of plop. Everything kind of plopped up top, and we see everything else. And I didn't get to the second drop down, but this is what that looked like. And then you could choose all of those. So if you only want to do one drop down, that's totally fine. Don't feel like you have to do extra. Okay, so I don't have too much time left. I wanted to look at some of you guys' challenges. Okay, so just searching on Behance, the keyword XD Daily Challenge. So make sure you add that as well. So this one is by Jurgana. This was the one that we did on Friday, which was the exercise app. Wow, these icons are beautiful. So we've got our list, our scoreboard up here, or our leaderboard. Ooh, love that auto animate. Very nice. Those icons are beautiful. I just love that. Awesome. Oh my gosh. All those badges. This looks so professional. I love it. Thank you so much for sharing, Jurgana. Maybe one more. Another Andrea Perez Losado. Ooh, this is so fun. I love this. This is the hairstyle app. Choose a hairstyle for your villager. Okay, guys. Unfortunately, that's about all the time that I have left for today. So thank you guys all so much for watching. Don't go anywhere because in about 5 minutes we've got our design off with Voodoo Val and jetpacks and roller skates. And I'll see you guys tomorrow again at 2 p.m. Pacific. Have a great evening. Bye.